Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is March the 22nd, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. So far, my Saturday has gone well. We got up, we went to the gym. Gym was nice. And outside of that, we haven't really done much. It's been a chill affair. But the day is young. It's early. I mean, it's the afternoon. So, got some plans. I'll definitely let you know how those go tomorrow. But yeah, like I said, we're in good spirits. We're in a good mood. We love that. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and get into some news. All right. Ooh. Our first story comes from USA Today. 3 dead, over a dozen wounded in mass shooting at New Mexico Park. 3 people were killed and 14 more were injured in a mass shooting at a New Mexico park on Friday night, officials said. The shooting happened at about 10 p.m. at Young Park. Police in Las Cruces, in the southern part of the state, said on Saturday. The deceased victims were 2 19-year-old men and a 16-year-old boy. The injured range from age 16 to 36 years old. At this time, police have not made any arrests for this incident, but are actively following multiple leads, police said in a statement on social media. Police urged any potential witnesses to submit video footage of the shooting or people with guns. Let's scroll ahead here. Police didn't say what the conditions of the injured were. It also looks like we don't have any motive as of yet, like what caused the shooting. I know that this was supposed to be like a big gathering. There was about like 200 people at the park. They were car enthusiasts. It's like a monthly meet that they have, like showing off their like modified sports cars, things like that. Excuse me. But then at some point, a shooting breaks out, and there are bullets everywhere, people running, all kinds of shit. So yeah, I mean, obviously that's very unfortunate. If I hear any updates coming out of Las Cruces, then we'll come back to that. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously sad whenever these things happen. Now we're going from one sad story to another, but I mean, at least we're kind of getting a conclusion on it from white people. My bad. I'm sorry, and I shouldn't laugh. This is fucked up shit. White couple who adopted black children and forced them to work as slaves learns fate. Now, this was a story we covered back last year. Some real fucked up shit of this couple that were adopting children, and with their black kids that they adopted, they just did some foul shit to them. A white West Virginia couple was sentenced to decades in prison this week for abusing some of their adopted children who are black, including by forcing them to perform heavy labor like slaves. Donald Lantz, 62, was sentenced to 160 years in prison after being found guilty of forced labor, human trafficking, child abuse, and neglect, the New York Times reported. His wife, Jean K. Whitefeather, 63, who was convicted of the same charges, plus violating her children's civil rights, was sentenced to 215 years behind bars. The couple was convicted in January, so I guess we missed that, but hey, we didn't miss it all. Now, I definitely wanted to read this quote by Judge Mary Claire Akers. "You brought these children to West Virginia, a place that I know is almost heaven, and you put them in hell." Okay, now I gotta pause here because my G, she's over here quoting fucking John Denver, and it's like, I get it. You know, judges are notorious for this. Sheriffs are notorious for this kind of shit, where they want to like land some zinger to show that they really got it and like we're really delivering a message here. But like maybe not. Like this seems really corny to do. Like just do the thing where you put these people in like behind bars, you bury them alive, and we can call it a day on that. Like what good is this? Why are we doing this? Are you gonna sing the whole song? Are you doing karaoke? Whatever. I mean, do your thing. I'm glad that they at least did a ruling here that like makes sense. Sometimes we've seen judges be like, well, actually, it wasn't even that bad. Like, I mean, oh gosh, heaven forbid these motherfuckers could have been like cops or something. Then they might have just gotten a fucking, just get out of here. You know, you're teaching them some values. Anyway, they were arrested in October of 2023. Okay, so this was actually 2 years ago. After a neighbor called Child Protective Services alleging that two teenagers, 14 and 16, were locked in a shed at a couple's home in Sissonville, according to court documents obtained by WCHS-TV. Other neighbors claimed the children were forced to perform farm labor and were not permitted inside the residence. So yeah, I mean, just a super fucking sad situation. I couldn't imagine as a lawyer for this couple. What do you even say? What do you do? Like, we were trying to just teach them good values, Your Honor. Like, no, we aren't racist. We didn't do that. We didn't give them the 12 years of slave treatment. No, it's not like that at all. We're good people. We care. That's why we adopted them. Surely we didn't just want to make them like, autonomous robot things that we would just kind of like put up in our fucking, shed and yell at them and swear at them. Not get them shoes, by the way. Just literally have these kids in rags when they were found. I can't imagine. I could never be a defense attorney, that's for sure. I couldn't be a lawyer. No way. I like arguing, but not that bad. No way, no how. But let's go ahead and cycle on. Let's move on to our next story from Local 12. Now, I'm pretty sure you could also find this from People as well, People magazine. They covered this. But yes, OnlyFans model charged after man who paid $11K for sex stunt declared brain dead. An OnlyFans model was charged after a man who reportedly paid her thousands of dollars for a sex stunt was declared brain dead. According to the New York Post, citing a report from the San Diego Union Tribune, a man died during a BDSM stunt that he allegedly paid an OnlyFans creator $11,000 to perform. The Tribune report states that 31-year-old OnlyFans model Michaela Brachet Rylaarsdam, a mother of three, recorded content for her followers with 55-year-old Michael Dale in his home in Escondido, California. Dale reportedly paid Rylaarsdam to wrap him up in plastic and duct tape, which ultimately led to his death on April 17th of 2023, the publication reported, citing an affidavit which attributed his death to asphyxiation. According to the Tribune, Rylaarsdam told authorities that Dale had hired her to bind him in plastic wrap and glue a pair of women's boots to his feet. I don't get that part, but I mean, okay. Text messages included in the affidavit reportedly revealed that request. The publication reported. So they have it on wax that like this is what he wanted, down to the boots. The Post reported that Rylaarsdam had no experience with BDSM sex prior to the alleged stunt. Disturbing video of the incident reportedly shows Dale with duct tape over his mouth, with his head wrapped in plastic wrap, which was further duct taped. That's so much, like, ooh, that's so bad. Along with a taped down plastic bag that was completely covered his head and his face, per the publication. According to the Post, citing prosecutors, Dale was bound for around 8 minutes, while Rylaarsdam allegedly recorded explicit content on her phone. The publication noted that Dale's arms and legs were also bound at the time. Now, if you're wondering, because I was wondering this, because I always forget, how long can you hold your breath? You do a quick Google, it's about 1 to 2 minutes, 30 to 90 seconds, right? To do this, like, so much tape. There's no breath. There's no way of getting it off because you're bound. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not this is something you guys agreed to, the money was put up. Like, you need to have the foresight and understanding that it's like, hey, this isn't some free action. We're not just like getting a little kinky, getting a little weird. Like, no, like, you're putting your life on the line doing this. You have to be safe about it. You know, not just safe in the moment, but also in the after. Like, there's so many components to this. Obviously, I'm not a fucking expert in these things. I'm very single. And I don't have the money to mingle like this. So no way, no how am I getting the tape up, the bag job, you know? But that being said, you gotta be safe, you gotta be aware, or these kind of things can happen. Now, Rylaarsdam did try to, or she called 911. She tried to do CPR. You know, she definitely tried to save him. I think once she realized, like, oh, he's gone, like he's dying. You know, she tried to do the best she could here. But that being said, I don't think that she's above criminal neglect here. You know, like their mistakes were made. They were very critical, and someone lost their life here. Once again, I don't think that it matters whether they were willing participants or not. That part is definitely very crucial. Because you could have done this in a way where he lives. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not as raw and real or whatever, but like, you know, you can keep your little glue boots on and you make it so that, hey, you can actually breathe, like, because you need to be able to breathe so that you can enjoy this after the fact. Otherwise, it's a one and done. So like if you imagine, like, oh, you can't pay 11K for a snuff thing. Like, I don't know his intent. I don't think that would be his intent in the situation, but it wouldn't matter because once again, for Rylaarsdam, hey, you can't just do this for the one time, right? And I don't think that was her intent, hence why she was trying to fucking save him. But let me read a little bit further. Rylaarsdam was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in February. She pleaded not guilty to the charges and is currently being held in jail without bond, per the outlet. When speaking to reporters with the publication, a member of Los Angeles's BDSM community said some requests are simply too dangerous to humor. Agreed. Some fantasies are better left in the fantasy realm. Some people cross that line, and that's when things tend to go sideways, they told the Tribune. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm a little bit, bold there, but thinking like there are ways to potentially facilitate these kind of things, but not bar for bar. Not, hey, I want you to bag me up so I can't breathe, and then like you just do all this stuff to me. Like, no, like we can do some simulation of that, but like there are going to be safe outlets here so that you will be able to breathe. That, you know, we're gonna follow certain guidelines, things like this. We're gonna make sure that you're safe, right? Like, protocols have to be fucking met here. You can't just say, oh, I saw something like that in a movie. I saw something like that on the hub. No, you didn't. Like, I guarantee you there was safe protocols put into place so that things weren't going to go wrong. You know what I mean? It's almost like a goddamn magic show, right? Like, so yeah, be careful out there. Obviously, if you're into what you're into, that's fine. I'm not here to kink shame. I'm not here to yuck your yum. But I do want you to be alive. You know, not just for the selfish benefit if I want you to hear this podcast again, hear my awful, lovely voice. I don't know. You know, whatever you like. But I want you to make it to tomorrow so that you can do more freaky deaky shit. How about that? You know what I mean? Like, there's more things to explore and do and even learn about that you don't, whether you like it or you don't like it. You get to find out, but you got to live to do that, right? I don't know. I'm talking a little long here. But anyway, let's move along. We gotta do some Olympic shit. Anyway, from the BBC. Groundbreaking but controversial new IOC president, Coventry. Christy Coventry, to be more specific. Christy Coventry will become the first woman to hold the most powerful role in sport, having been elected the 10th International Olympic Committee president at a meeting in Greece. I also think it's very fitting that they do this in Greece. Like, that's kind of like points for that. That's pretty cool. The Zimbabwean sports minister and double Olympic swimming champion is also the first African at the age of 41, the youngest person to take up the position, but her victory is controversial as well as groundbreaking. Yeah, you know, very, very progressive, I guess. It's very, very cool. We'll get into why I kind of feel a little about it. But despite predictions of a close race between the 7 candidates and expectations of multiple rounds of voting, Coventry secured an overall majority of the secret ballot just after just one round, winning 49 votes out of the possible 97. Now, we could go through some of the candidates or whatever. That's kind of blah, blah, rah, rah. All these names are going to fade into the opaque grayness of the past, in my opinion. So I don't really care. Essentially, they do a secret ballot thing. So you're not really, like, it's almost like the fucking Pope. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like Covenant or whatever the fuck it's called. Like, you do secret votes, and then no one's supposed to know anything, again, the public or whatever, and it's all done under wraps. Next thing you know, you got a new president, you got a new pope, whatever. They're very similar, in my opinion. You can debate me on that if you like, whatever. That being said, there were some guys that, like, hey, I have a clear resume, I should be good to go. I've been prepped for this. This is what my whole life's about. And Coventry just swam in on there. She's like, and made a splash. I don't know. She also does have a background, like, in terms of working, in the IOC. She was a gold medalist, so, like, she does have a certain reputation, a certain kind of cachet, if you will. So it's not out of the realm and reason to pick someone like Coventry, and that she kind of just came out of, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but just came up and was almost a dark horse that winds up winning. So that's cool in that regard. But here we go. Here's where I start to get the ick. Coventry has pledged to introduce a blanket ban. I don't know why I can't say blanket. A blanket ban on transgender women competing in female Olympic competition, insisting that she will protect women athletes and that fairness and safety are paramount. AKA, she's bending and bowing to political pressures. It's even been, like, stated from Donald Trump, because I think it might be 28, the Olympics in Los Angeles. He said, hey, there won't be any trans women in the Olympic Games at Los Angeles if I can help it. Like, we're going to have extra screening. It's not going to be allowed. It's not going to be okay. And you can already see Coventry being almost like, conciliatory to that. Like, and it's not like she's the only, or it's not like, the United States are the only country that want to have these kind of policies, that want to enforce these kind of policies. So naturally it bleeds in an international sense, and the Olympics is an international thing. So everyone's kind of, I guess, on board with the quote unquote biological woman bullshit. So yeah, we're trying to dodge all the rows that we kind of went through with the Paris 2024 thing. Now, so that's one part of it that I don't like. That's a little bit, like I said, suspect. But you can also talk about, just kind of her dalliance with the politics as well, in terms of just from her own country. In 2008, she accepted a $100,000 reward from Zimbabwe's authoritarian leader, Robert Mugabe. We're going to say Robert Mugabe, whatever. It could be Mugabe. It could be a lot of things, but what's in a name? Given to her in a suitcase for winning 4 medals at the Beijing Olympics. Pretty fucking impressive. That's that fucking, like I said, that reputation. She's got her, swimmer shit on, she's like on her Phelps shit. Except she didn't smoke, so there you go. That's what it is, folk. You just don't get caught with the bong, and you keep your Subway deal, and then you get a fucking suitcase full of money. The gift came at a time of severe food shortages and inflation, and the swimmer announced she was giving some of the money to charity. Mugabe's later years in power were marked with violent repression of his political opponents and Zimbabwe's economic ruin. Although at the time Coventry didn't speak out about the need for change in Zimbabwe, as an athlete she tried to avoid being drawn into politics. In 2018, however, she became sports minister for Mugabe's successor, controversial President Emerson Mnangagwa, known as the Crocodile, for his ruthlessness and political cunning. So it's like she just couldn't get away from the politics, aka bag keeps calling, bro, and she had to take her ass just fucking back, back to the fucking bag. So yeah, that's so cool. Let's see, we can talk about some of her record as sports minister. In 2020, Zimbabwe stadiums were banned by the Confederation of African Football, the CAF, from hosting all international games for substandard facilities. And in 2022, during Coventry's tenure, football's world governing body, FIFA, banned Zimbabwe from international fixtures over governmental interference in the running of the game. So yeah, I mean, like she said, she's come from a hard road, and it's like, what? You just be I hate to say it, but being a white lady in Zimbabwe, was that really hard, I guess? Because once again, you got paid, you got your fucking bag, and then now you flipped it to being the president of the IOC. So, I mean, cool, you really did it. You really leveled all the way up. Like, that's dope. But we'll see. We'll see, I guess. Like, I generally don't fuck with these people. I can't even remember the guy who is currently in power right now. I should, but who gives a shit? He's on the way out. But Coventry sounds just like the fucking current boss. So I don't really care. You can say the same thing about FIFA that got mentioned in the article. Like, these are all organizations that are down to play, down to clown for the highest bidder. They are doing all of this shit is money motivated. There's no morals in this. There's no soul. They don't care about fucking people. You could fund this shit on fucking child slave labor, and they would be like, fine. Well, as long as the fucking venue is nice and cool and you can support it, sweet, cool. We don't give a damn. Like. So that's why, once again, I don't really want to get into the weeds of like the politics of the Olympics and how the voting goes. By all means, you can figure that out if you want. You could delve deep, but who gives a shit? It's all to the highest bidder. It's all who likes who. It's all a fucking jerk off for probably money, probably for profit. But anyway, let's talk recalls. There's been so many recalls lately, or at least I guess I'm just choosing to see and cover them. I don't know. Sometimes it's a little of column A, column B. But before we get into this recall, let's go and take our last break, and we'll close it out. Speaking of recalls, though, Elon Musk did do a surprise, like, meeting, like, powwow, like, talk about Tesla, the state of Tesla or whatever, trying to boost shit, trying to like rally. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that's going. I mean, it's just kind of L after L for Tesla, but like I said, I'm sure they'll find a way to worm their way back up. All right. From USA Today, Woolite Delicates detergent recalled by Ricket due to risk of exposure to bacteria, sold exclusively on Amazon.com. The recall involves 50 fluid ounce bottles of Woolite Delicates detergent. They got the SKU here. I don't feel like reading those. I do want to read what the bacteria was so that you know. The recalled products can contain Pseudomonas species bacteria, including Pseudomonas oleoverans, an environmental organism found widely in soil and water. People with weakened immune systems or external medical devices who are exposed to the bacteria face a serious risk of infection that may require medical treatment. The bacteria can enter the body through the eyes or through a break in the skin. People with healthy immunity are not usually affected by the bacteria. You can get a refund. The recall date was March 20th, 2025. So there you go. And there's they say about over 16,000 units. So there you go. That's the news for the day. You know, we talked a decent amount. You know, we rode the spectrum of news. We rode the wave. But yeah, that's where I'll leave it for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah Become a newsie today. Shouts out, the roll call's coming up, so feel free to get in before you fit in. Anyway, free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcast, whatever you fancy. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. If you can leave stars, leave all of the stars. We love them. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.